I'm currently headed down 65 to go to Mammoth Cave, and that's a national park here in Kentucky. I'm going to be going through Cave City to get there, which has a bunch of tourist traps. Now, I've been to Mammoth Cave before when I was a kid, but it's been probably since the 80s, so I want to check it out again. I remember it being a much drier cave than some of these other ones I was at last weekend, so there's not as much formations, but it's huge. My understanding is it's the biggest cave in the country, and by length of all the passages they've explored, it's the biggest cave in the world. There's a cave in Vietnam that's bigger by volume because it has like huge cavernous rooms that can hold skyscrapers. But as far as length, my understanding is that Mammoth Cave is the largest in the world. So we're going to go check that out and maybe check out a little bit of the tourist traps that are around Cave City associated vaguely with Mammoth Cave. But Mammoth Cave is going to be the main focus, and hopefully I can get to go on some side trails and see what it's like, because I think this may be the only national park I've been to. I'm not sure. I need to think about that for a bit. Actually, no, I think like Lincoln's Boyhood Home might be the closest one to me. I'm pretty sure I've been to that one before when I was a kid. Anyway, let's see what we see. I know that I'm close to being to Cave City. Well, actually, I'm past Cave City. Once I see that T-Rex on 65, that's Dinosaur World. I used to see that T-Rex probably about twice per year as I was heading down to conferences in Nashville or maybe Atlanta. I'd drive past it. So we may pay a visit to that. We'll see. Okay, I'm nearing one of my exits, and I'm seeing some stuff that is a little tourist trappy, let's say. Hopefully I can find a pharmacy someplace here nearby. Instead of taking me further down 65, my GPS routed me through some backcountry, but apparently I came to Mammoth Cave Cemetery. So at least it's related to the park, I guess. Oh, I think I saw that gentleman mentioned in some stuff I was reading online. Looks like a nice little 19th and maybe before century cemetery with some new stuff in here as well. Shacklefoot. Well, my GPS built into my car led me a little astray, I think, because it told me I had arrived at Mammoth Cave when I was in the middle of the woods. But I'm not sure if it meant the city known as Mammoth Cave, I think, or if it meant the just some part of the national park boundary. But I think I found what I'm looking for up here. We'll look around, see if we can find the visitor center, which I don't think opens for another almost 45 minutes. In hindsight, I probably should have reserved ahead, because it looks like as far as guided tours, the historic has one opening at 3:15. I didn't expect that. Picked up one of these from my brother. Apparently he collects passports. And this is a grand view of the visitor center. I don't remember what it looked like when I was a kid. I'm assuming about the same, but I seem to recall it being bigger. And a lot of information about bats. Apparently, I did not get here after everything sold out. I do have one of the historic tours at, I think, 3:15, and there's another tour at 9 o'clock that I'm taking, which name I forget. Okay, the other tour I got besides the historic one was the Frozen Niagara one. This is a bit more the visitor center. I don't remember all this museum stuff when I was here last, but then that would have been the 80s. May have to come back here in the meantime and read some of this stuff, since I have a big amount of time between the two tours. One at 9 o'clock and one at 3:15.
Caption reads, "A mountaineer can usually see where he is. Cavers usually have to wait until their surveys are made into maps to know where they have been." Roger Brucker with Richard Watson. A large expanse of rock stretches high in a cave. The caption reads, "Not only can you climb the mountain, but in a cave you can never be certain that the cave does not go on." Roger Brucker with Richard Watson.
This reminds me a lot of the Falls of Ohio in some ways with the way they did the interpreter center.
Blue sky above the malt-colored leaves of the tree. Shadows stretch over the reddish green.
Okay, and back out. Apparently frozen Niagara leaves. Apparently frozen Niagara leaves from Shelter B, and we have to take a bus ride to get there. I think the historic tour is closer by. That's only Shelter A is where we meet, but I think we may walk to its entrance. And it's a little windy right now, so I'm glad I'm wearing a hoodie. Whew. Awfully cold for an April.
The usual, no weapons, tobacco products, or e-cigarettes. When you take pictures, don't use the
Salamander up here, and a big cricket over there. I like the revolving door to keep the humidity in. Or out. Probably mostly in. This is just a little low for me.
They bite you or they gonna?
They won't break all my blood. I know on it.
So welcome into Mammoth Cave, and while we're pretty far away from the more relatively well-known historic section around the visitor center, in that big natural entrance, we are still part of that Mammoth Cave system. Mammoth Cave is in a system of ridges and you have some more of that. And you have a cave drapery or cave bacon. Or cave curtains, whatever. You have soda straws, baby stalactites. These are, these are.
Okay, watching my head.
Wow, that's neat, right? Even getting supplies in here to do it.
So apparently that's frozen Niagara. Have to take the staircase down.
Yeah, I don't know, but I've seen some pictures that when we had some older lighting, and it looked like this place was like Times Square. Oh yeah. For various reasons, it's been.
Drapery room. So that was frozen Niagara. That's a fairly decent sized one, I imagine. Cave crickets. Well, that was the man-made entrance to one part of the cave. I got another tour coming later on today. That's interesting. To stop white noise disease, apparently they want you to kind of wash your shoes after getting back out of the caves. I'm not sure what all chemicals they got in this, but I guess it must be antifungal. Back at the visitor center, figuring out what I'm going to do next. Well, here's Dinosaur World. I don't plan on actually taking a tour, but I might visit the gift shop real quick. Just because, who knows, might find something cool.
In 1/2 mile, turn left on Mammoth Cave Street.
I'm questioning the realism of some of them. That's a pterosaur, but something doesn't look quite right about it. And there's a T-Rex with bow legs for the gift shop. Plenty of kitschy tourist trap type stuff out here. There's several different cave tours besides just Mammoth Cave, but they're ran by private individuals as opposed to the National Park Service. Right now we're at Dinosaur World, and one of the things I always remember whenever I drive on 65, that T-Rex you see standing over 65 that advertises this place is about halfway between Louisville and Nashville. Trashosaurus. Some of these would be cute for the wall. I used to collect little plastic dinosaur toys at parks all the time when I was a little kid. These ones are a little bit better colored than the ones I had, though. That's adorable. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. Chrysaliocotis Northrop? Pretty cool looking though. I don't think pterosaurs actually had missiles, even the suction cup variety. Well, there's Cave City down that way. Dinosaur World, which I was just at. And here is Guntown Mountain. But everything is closed up, unfortunately. They've been having financial problems. I think it was founded in '69, and I know I went as a little kid. However, it's gone in underneath a few different managements, and I think one of the ones about 8 years ago went a little insane and invited people to ransack the place. So none of that actually seems to be open. But I'll find some place to eat in Cave City and look around some more. Kind of interesting, they used to have a chairlift here, just like at ski resorts, but it broke down. And even when they had this place running, I think a year ago or so, it wasn't functioning at that particular point in time. I wonder if they will ever open this place up again. I mean, it's very kitschy and very tourist trappy, but I remember going here as a kid and, you know, have some nostalgia about passing it whenever I go down 65. Dived into another gift shop. There's a whole bunch of them in the area that sell rocks and trinkets and other things. It's not till 3:15 when I have my next tour. which hopefully would be pretty cool. I'm looking to kill some time. Unfortunately, all the restaurants I'd want to go to are closed on Sunday. One thing to keep in mind if you decide to come to Mammoth Cave, reserve your tickets for your tour ahead of time because most things were sold out by the time I got here. And I came here but early in the morning on Easter Sunday. And by the way, I only plan on spending about 3 hours in the cave as opposed to 3 days. Closed on Easter Sunday, unfortunately. We'll see if any of the other places are open. See if we can find a bite to eat. Real pretty valley. All sorts of tourist places nearby. Kentucky Down on it. Let's see, some kind of haunted mansion. A bunch of caves in here someplace, like Crystal Onyx and Diamond Caverns. I'm not sure if I've been to either one of those before. I found brochures for like 6 other caves besides Mammoth Cave itself, and who knows if they're connected or not in some way. But I used to pick these up all the time as a kid as we were touring around the South and Midwest, and give you something to read in the car when you didn't have smartphones back in the 80s.
And then Jason grabs his arm and throws him again.
Apparently this is Big Mike's rock shop, and I guess Onyx Cave is nearby it. Look around and see if there's anything cool. We got some more stuff up here on the hill. Rocks, 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 and more rocks. Obsidian. Oh, okay, do a little napping. That's a big trilobite if it's a trilobite. I think it's related at least. Some kind of critter. Haven't seen candy cigarettes around in a long time. Another one of the mini gift shops. Trying to find a penguin, a raccoon, a hedgehog, something like that. Let's go upstairs in a bit. A little stuff about some aquatic life. Decided to get me some candy, and I'm up to 1 pack a day. Ingredients: dextrose, cornstarch, corn syrup, tapioca, beef gelatin, which is unexpected, and artificial flavors. It pretty much just tastes like compressed powdered sugar. A lot more people here later in the day. Let's see if I can find this Dixon Cave. River Styx Spring, that's also a cool name. I have till 3:15, make sure I'm back up here. But I guess I have time. They're rebuilding some stuff out that way, and according to the map, it said something about a hotel, but that doesn't look much like a hotel. I'm not sure what all they're developing out here. Roaming around. I guess that's the historic entrance down there, but I'm going for the Dixon Trail, which apparently I have to go up this hill for. Little woodpecker up there. Let's see if I can get a better angle on him. I would assume that's not Dixon's Cave. It looks like just a rock shelter at best, but I don't honestly know. Yeah, it doesn't look like that goes very far up in there. I guess they're not screwing around. I take it this is probably Dixon's Cave. Let's see if we can get a better look at it from up above. Okay, apparently this is Dixon Cave and it got cut off from the rest of Mammoth Cave. And that created the historical entrance that we will be using probably here when my tour comes up. Oh, batty bats. Alright, let's do some stairs. Decisions. Which way to go? Well, this may be longer, but I think it may be more scenic looking at what we have out there. Scenic Overlook. That sounds like a place to go. Green River Bluff Trail, River Styx Spring. Alright, I guess this is the overlook. I'm not exactly sure which river we're overlooking. I think they said, was that Green River? River Styx Spring sounds pretty cool, so let's head that way. The rest of this River Bluff Trail just takes us back to the visitor center, I think. I confirmed with someone else that is the Green River, which I guess it lives up to the name. Got a good strong breeze out here today. And I thought I was heading towards that Styx Spring, but so far I'm not sure where that's at. Hopefully it's back on the trail. Here's some other cave entrance. I'm not sure how it hooks up into anything else, but it looks cool. Now hopefully this leads me back to some place that actually is a trail. I'm not sure if this is an official trail or not. No, that's pretty. Alright, I think I'm back on path. More or less. Actually, I think that was that River Styx spring they mentioned. Yeah, that's the River Styx. I saw something smaller than a squirrel, I think maybe a chipmunk. But he ran off into a hole. And I don't see him anymore. Let's see what's up this stairway. Okay, we're going to go down to the historical entrance, which I passed much earlier, but it seems like the day's gone by awfully fast.
Artifacts mean what all this is that we're seeing. Sound good? Your last mission. Present your ticket to Alex as you pass by on the stairs. That's all I need to do is see that you're here on the 315. You're about to, your eyeballs are floating. Let me know. But we also have other less advanced ways of taking care of that problem.
I'll take care of it any way we can help. Oh, so you're putting the thing on me? Well, I was told I'm not here for one thing.
I guess that's where they mine saltpeter. Well, Mammoth Cave is about like I remember it. Pretty dry, but expansive.
people ahead of me give you a bit of idea of scale, though they aren't as tall as me.
No, it's the Mammoth Cave because of these mammoth-sized passageways. There were never any mammoths down here. There's no mammoth fossils down here either. But this, what you're seeing behind me here, is in reference to that earlier name from the 1800s, those pioneer Americans, when this was a frontier of a young nation. That is part of an early version of a plumbing system helping them produce saltpeter. How do you make that saltpeter? Well, in that earlier room, the rotunda, you saw some squared off boxes in the center of that room. You'll see some more up onto your right when we head onward. Think of these as the filters you use when you make coffee. You pile up the loose dirt you find on the ground down here into those boxes. You bring in water using this plumbing system. And you begun the process of leaching nitrates out of that dirt. The loose dirt you find down here is calcium nitrate. And by doing this, an early version of that filter system in those boxes, just straw along the bottom, some split logs, you got what they call nitrogen, nitrate-rich liquid. And then you brought that back up to the surface, boiled it down, added a couple ingredients to obtain some potassium in the mixture, and you had that saltpeter. That was the end game economic commodity that they were producing out of this cave. You were the owners and operators of that saltpeter operation here at Mammoth. You then sold that saltpeter to a man out east, a man by the name of D.I. DuPont, the origins of DuPont Chemical Company. He added a couple more ingredients, did a little bit more to the process, and he had black gunpowder, an important commodity for a young nation trying to get a little bit of a footing on the world stage, both in terms of economics and self-sufficiency. And it also gives you a good early example of what we've changed now. Mother Nature took care of the walls, the ceiling, all of that. We'll talk about the geology in a moment. But humanity has changed the floor. And so imagine oxen pulling that dirt along the passageway where you now stand. They utilize about 5 miles of the cave for this operation. In a big tall room like this, you'd have a water tower. So you could then gravity feed the water back out to the entrance, just as you gravity fed it down here. That early version of a plumbing system, mostly they utilized the state tree of Kentucky, the tulip poplar, a nice straight tree. Auger out the inside, hollowing it. Bevel either end, like sharpening your pencil so you can stick it together. And you had that plumbing system. And again, these are preserved by the pretty constant atmosphere you got down here. Very little changes. So that atmosphere preserves these artifacts since the 1800s. You can still see them left behind after that operation petered out in the early 1800s. It was no longer economically viable. We'll head over back to beach dirt here in a moment. And up
Can't quite make them out, but those are the old boxes they used to use for the process of extracting nitrates for making gunpowder eventually. And apparently they sold it to a guy named DuPont, who founded that particular chemical company and also was the people who originally was set up the ammo plant in Charlestown. Well, powder plant.
calcium carbonate before coming on this tour. The one and only ingredient in tubs, rolled eggs. It's an antacid. While we're talking about that antacid, we're talking about that solution cave.
That's where we're going to go. We'll be right there.
25 minutes to explore about 17 miles of this cave system. Truly remarkable walls and dry limestone caves. They look like snowballs, flowers, all types of beautiful incrustation. But if you look up on the ceiling here, stained black by all that open flame, both early tourism, exploration, and the torches of those indigenous people. You'll also notice, just out of arm's reach, the reason for that is, again, they were collecting that off the walls. They'd come in here with rocks, with mussel shells, scraping and banging it off the walls, and then carrying it out in gourd bowls. Not entirely sure what they were doing with it. Maybe it could have been used as a part of conditioning the soil as a fertilizer. They were in the process of making a transition from a hunter-gatherer society to an agricultural one. We know that based on some of the other remains they left down here. Maybe they were using it medicinally. Some of those minerals I listed do have medical benefits we know of today. Epsomite, Epsom salt. But I can't entirely tell you. But what I would like you to tell me is, how far would you have explored in this darkness? Would you have made it that 17 miles? And before you answer, take time.
Giant's coffin. I guess that's what it looks like.
Which movie? Oh, the Wisconsin in the Highlands? I did not know that.
Oh. Unfortunately, I don't think that was the tightest spot. It's not a totally dry cave. Well, you can't see I'm walking on a grating, but that's there. Unfortunately, low light video doesn't work real well. Y'all doing okay back there?
Yeah.
This is Fat Man's Misery. Oh, maybe it probably gets skinnier later on. This part of the cave is definitely not sized for big and tall. Oh, it looks like there's a step up. We do have restrooms down here, luckily. Do we stay here or is they up ahead?
They're all up there.
Ah, okay. Well, now that we're out of Fat Man's Misery, I'm much happier. I'm trying to picture a person the size of my brother and the height of Sam getting through that.
He called it the Winding Way. It was about 3/4 full of sediment, and he crawled through there on his belly. Then coming back down, removing that sediment to bring you here. He went down to those rivers, built a boat, went across them, found miles of paved passageway beyond. You go up in this direction, as we will in a moment, and see the Mammoth Dome, a massive vertical shaft that's migrated across that area, allowing us to put in that fire tower. It's absolutely gorgeous. But, again, this earned him extreme fame. People wanted to see places no one else had been before. Stephen, when you read accounts from visitors, they tell you if you come to the Mammoth Cave, the most important part of your trip is if you get Stephen Bishop as your guide. And these are letters in the 1800s. And not only that, I think his most remarkable achievement during his time here was the creation of a map that mapped all of that extended cave system. And it's fairly accurate. We still use it today to refer to features in the cave. The most impressive part of this map to me, though, is that it includes a passageway that would be overlooked by geologists, cavers, etc. until 1972, when a group of cavers went into the world's longest cave, the Flint Ridge System, a nearby cave. And they then emerged into that passageway along an old tour route in the Mammoth Cave, connecting us to the Flint Ridge System, creating the world's longest cave along that passageway. Stephen knew all that time ago. 1972, long after we become a national park, officially designated 1941. Really unique achievement. And you might be wondering, what was Stephen like? Well, accounts tell us that he was brave, charismatic. Someone who knew him really well said that Stephen knew a little of Greek, a little of Latin, a great amount about geology. When you see depictions of Stephen, he's handsome, sporting a little bit of facial hair. Does this sound like me so far? That facial hair was actually a mustache, so he looked a little bit more like other Alex. But it turned out he looked nothing like either of us, because Stephen Bishop was an enslaved African American brought here at the age of 17 and forced to lead those cave tours. Encouraged to explore in his free time, but as I think some of these stories have illustrated to you, he was a remarkable explorer, exploring these passageways by just the light of the flame, going places no human had ever been, not those indigenous people, not those saltpeter miners, no one. Stephen Bishop was there first. Really, really remarkable figure. And that's why he's still buried at the center of our Heritage Trail today. Again, often referred to as the Prince of Guides. A remarkable character who, again, helped us go forward here in a moment. We will get to go even farther than Stephen did. He got to go to the bottom of that Mammoth Dome. Never got to go up it, experiencing its beauty. And as you go up that, experience the beauty that is Mammoth Dome, I've got a couple pieces of advice for you. Ladies and gentlemen, as I was telling several of you, that's your last step down. This is your first step up of many, many steps up. If you get tired along your journey, you're going to do this. Those around you will think you've learned a little bit from me today. You've spotted a magnificent geologic feature. They'll start to take pictures. You've gathered your moment of energy to continue. There's a second reason you're going to want to do this. At that first big platform, there are beautiful formations for you to point out. In particular, off to your center left will be the ruins of Karnak. They look like Corinthian pillars, like you'd find at a temple in Egypt. Off to your center right is my favorite formation in all of the Mammoth Cave system. I'm not lying to you, not buttering you up. It is Butterscotch Falls. It looks like a frozen butterscotch waterfall, but just absolutely beautiful flowstone cascading down the wall there. You're going to want to have time to see those features. You'll know you're at the Mammoth Dome because we're going to do a short stairwell here, continue down Sparks Avenue, and then you'll hear and see water rushing in. But I'm telling you, don't spend too much time at the bottom there with the water. Start heading up. Start conquering that fire tower so you can see those formations.
These are the parts you really gotta be careful of, because it's just low enough to hit your head if you're not paying attention, but it's not so low that you're constantly paying attention. It's like a constant rainfall. They said something about a fire tower. I guess that's what that is. Up the fire tower some more in a bit. And here are the columns.
Excellent work.
I guess that must be Butterscotch Falls.
Perspective, is it? Right?
A very, very tiny bat, which you can't make out on the recording.
Oh, we didn't say it, someone else did. We would have absolutely passed by it.
I tried to do that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've all made it up. At least enough of you for Alex to make that determination that we got.
Some kind of World War monument. World War I, that is. And out we go. Cleaning off our feet for the white nose disease. Back out of the cave, and down there was the entrance. Trying to find that cemetery. I guess this is a Sunset Point. And I see the graveyard, but it's up on that hill. I'm assuming this is the cemetery. Stephen Bishop is apparently in this graveyard someplace, and he's like the only guide here. He was a slave back in the 19th century. I think it said he died in 1857. And he apparently explored out a lot of Mammoth Cave. I don't know if I'll be able to see his tombstone from this distance, though. Alright, they don't want you to go in there, and I can't quite read the tombstone from this distance, so I think I want to head back to the parking lot. Especially since it's getting a little dim out, and it's not that late. Well, from my perspective, seems like this day went by awfully fast. What's up, tree rat? Bought me a little something. It's got Velcro on it so we can play peekaboo with you. Little silly bat. I need some kind of memorabilia.
Continue on.
A few recommendations if you decide to come to Mammoth Cave. First of all, buy your tickets ahead of time. I didn't expect so much to be sold out by the time I got here, but I did get to go on 2 tours. As far as looking at rock formations, I'd say Frozen Niagara is better, but if you want to learn more about the history of the cave, well, the historical tour or probably the extended historical tour would be the 2 best to go on. If I had to do it again, I think I also might have tried out maybe that self-guided one as well. But definitely get tickets ahead of time and think of food outside of the park, because the options here aren't necessarily great for food. But it's got some interesting hiking trails around it as well to kill an entire day. And if you want to kill an entire weekend, add in some of the more tourist trappy places, though I don't think those open until later in the season, and some may be still closed. But that was an enjoyable little trip.